still. You are follow in my pattern.
Hello and welcome to the Ladies' Room. Today my guest is Kenny Mann, filmmaker, writer, and now poet. And you have written a theater piece called A White Woman, Her African Servant, a Shaman, and a Spirit Child. And this theater piece is going to be shown at John Drew Theater on October 3rd at 7:30, and it's free. You have to get online to get tickets, and that site will be on the screen. And Kenny, you've done wonderful films on Kenya. You grew up among the Maasai people. And Nickson, you are an assistant chief of a whole area of Kenya, of the Maasai tribe.
Yeah.
So you're here touring all over the United States, speaking to at various universities, and you grew up half a mile from where Nickson is from in Kenya?
Yes, I grew up very close to Kenya, to Nickson, where Nickson now is. Of course, Nickson is half my age, right? I hate to admit it. Yeah. And my brother lives very close to Nickson, and so we're like family, you know. But this poem that I wrote evolved out of memories, childhood memories, of growing up among the Maasai and in Maasai land. I wouldn't say that it's a particularly Maasai piece. It's not. It's generally Africa with no particular place in mind. But the landscape, the sounds, the smells, you know, all of that is from Maasai land.
And it's very interesting. You had auditions in New York, and it was overwhelming, the amount of people.
It's true.
What was that like?
I was really blown away because I have very good casting director, Sue Crystal, who lives in East Hampton and New York, whom I had never met before. But she pulled the auditions together, and we had close to 200 applicants.
Wow.
I thought I'd be lucky if I found 3. Wow. So it was 2 days of auditioning because we have 3 main actors, the white woman, the servant, and the shaman. And then I have 5 ancestors. You know, African people, and myself included, do believe in ancestors. They are around all the time. They're not ghosts, they're not spirits, they're just people who are no longer alive. That's the only way that I can define that. I don't know, would you say something? What's an ancestor, Nickson?
Yeah, I think even when someone, if you have your parents pass on, and if you are young and you are starting, for example, to take a local brew, you never take the first sip before you put on the ground, because you're kind of giving to the ancestor. So there is all that belief that the ancestors are always around, and they keep watch what we do.
And watch over you and protect you.
Yeah.
And Pat Miller has done this wonderful poster for your theater piece.
Well, let me explain what that is. The title of the piece is actually Naisula.
Oh, Naisula.
Naisula, yeah. And then the white woman, the servant, the shaman, and the spirit child, a prayer. And actually, Nickson is the person who chose the name, because last year Nickson was here, and I happened to have bought a beautiful painting by Beth O'Donnell, who's known out in East Hampton. She's been in Kenya. She did this fabulous painting of a Samburu woman, actually, related to Maasai, but from northern Kenya. And when Nickson was here, we had a naming ceremony for her, a traditional naming ceremony. And Patton Miller, this artist, was there, and Nickson was there. Yeah. And Nickson named her Naisula. Which means woman of power. So this is the connection. It goes very deep. And I chose that name for the piece. So you can see the white woman in the center. Yeah. To the left is the servant. To the right with the cow horns is the shaman. And then there's a leopard. And over here,
spirit child.
That's the spirit child who's emerging from clay. It's a myth, the whole thing. And there's the praying mantis. And
prayer part.
Some other creatures also play roles. There's a chameleon, there's a yellow dog.
And you have a wonderful costume designer and mask maker named Sophie Howell.
That's correct.
And I believe we have a video clip of Sophie doing her work. Maybe we could show that now.
It would be.
Hi, my name is Sophie Howell. I am working on the costuming and props for Naisula, which is coming October 3rd to Guildhall, 7:30. Okay, this one's ready to go. You can try it on. I really love this project because it's all about the merging of worlds, really. We've got, you know, these ancestors that are timeless, that are in between worlds. We've got a shaman with all-seeing eyes. We've got a woman stuck in her world, and then a servant who's pulled into a different world. And another aspect of this project that I think is really amazing and feels really fulfilling for me while I'm working in the studio is that it's benefiting the Masai tribe. There's a high school there that some of the proceeds are going to, and sponsoring them and bringing education to that group is vital because they're being traded for livestock there. And I think it's really amazing that you can be in touch with that, even know that it's going on, and make an impact, you know, somewhere else around the world simply by being a part of this and enjoying, you know, a beautiful expression of art and creativity coming together here in North America.
And that school, you are saving these girls from, they get sold off with livestock if they're not, or forced to marry someone very old. So it's amazing work you're doing, and the girls seem so happy. And we will later in the show have a video of your school. But let's talk a little bit more about the theater piece, because it's so interesting how this all came together. And what inspired you to write? You're a filmmaker and you're a writer, but this is now a poem.
Well, I've always written poetry on the side, and this just emerged. I wrote it last year. Actually, I was at the house of some friends, and they asked me to do a reading, and I did a reading, and everybody said, this has to go on the stage. And I submitted it to the John Drew, and lo and behold, they accepted it.
Wow.
They have a wonderful program. It's the John Drew Theatre Lab for Works in Progress, which is to introduce new playwrights and new works to the public, which is why it's free. And very often, if you go there, people will be reading their scripts. But I've seen some amazing shows there.
Yes, I have too.
Often better than a fully developed show. I decided to do almost a full production for this show, simply because
normally there are no costumes or anything. People are just sitting on chairs.
Right.
So.
Well, it's just A, who I am, and B, it's so visual, and C, I'm obviously, having put in so much effort and money, I have to say, hoping that I'd be able to take it somewhere else. You know, this should go, you know, it should be in an off-Broadway theater.
Yeah.
It could be at colleges. You know, it has a lot to say. The whole purpose of the piece, I'll tell you very quickly, is when I grew up in Kenya, it was the colonial period, which is the 1950s up until 1963. And a lot of my memories concern white women and their African servants. And very often those women did not treat those servants well. And it was one reason that I actually left Kenya, is because I knew I was not going to be able to deal with this situation. I was so uncomfortable with it. And it stayed with me. Quite a lot of my work has dealt with that theme in the past. And so this is this relationship between this white woman and this servant who was given to her as a child, almost like a slave. And she treats him abominably until there's a certain moment, I don't want to give it away, of awakening where the shaman plays a role. Really, the shaman is manipulating everybody. The chameleon, the leopard, the praying mantis, the yellow dog, even the goat. They're all in it together. And there's a baboon played by a local actor, Evan Thomas.
Evan, I love Evan.
He is fantastic.
He's great.
He's going to be the most amazing baboon you ever saw.
Yeah.
And all the other actors are from the city. We were talking about the audition. It took us 2 days to find everybody. They're excellent, every one of them. A lady is playing the shaman, Diane Nickson. She's actually Jamaican, and she's won a lot of prizes in the city as a Caribbean actress. The white woman is played by a very beautiful actress called Bevan Bell Hall. The black servant is played by an African-American guy called Lambert Tamin. Now, all these people have had to study. You've heard how Nickson talks, how an African speaks English. They've all got that accent down.
Wow.
And we've started one-on-one Skype rehearsals. Thank goodness for Skype. And we start rehearsals next week. and then we have a few rehearsals before the performance. And it's structured almost like a radio play. A lot of music and sound effects coming in and out. Spotlight is on one person, everyone else is in the dark, then that spotlight goes off, the next one comes on. So it's very fluid. You know, the whole structure of it is one piece, no intermission.
Wow. And there's a big, there's a GoFundMe site, and it's a big fundraiser for your school and also for the production of the theater piece.
Yes.
So Nickson now, the Maasai land, it seems like it's being encroached upon by Nairobi is growing at such a fast rate, and the national park, and where lions used to be your enemies, now they're in a way your saviors because they're keeping the culture alive.
Yes.
So would you tell us a bit about what it's like where you live?
I live in south of Nairobi National Park, and it's very close to the city. The south of the park is not fenced, so we have that interaction of wildlife coming from the park and coming to our area. And for a very long time, Maasai have been kind of enemies with lions because the young people used to kill lions as a way of showing how brave they are. It was like
a rite of passage.
Yes, rite of passage and all that kind of initiation ceremonies. But now we've come to realize that lions are a very important resource to our country because of economically. If you go to any game drive, every visitor you found in the park, he asks you, have you seen lion? That's one.
Sure, yeah.
Number two, lions control the herbivores population. If we have too many herbivores and few lions, then the competition for grazing becomes so high. And you know, Maasai, we keep livestock. So lions help us to control the population of herbivores. And that's why now we've become to know that is a resource, and we're keeping them and we're protecting them. And every time we have a human-life interaction or conflict, we report and we respond and try to control, to have those mitigation measures to control conflict among the Maasai and the lions. And our area is facing challenge because of proximity to the city.
Yeah, you can see it. We have a film clip to show. Do you want us to show the film clip now, and then you can talk about it?
Yeah.
It is through trade that we get variety of goods, isn't it? Yes.
15 hivyo tu, lakini shule simna, ukipita una sponsor.
Kwa majina naitwa Alice Mailante Kitika, niko na miaka 38. Mimi nimesoma hadi darasa la 8. Sikuweza kuendelea zaidi ya masomo kwa sababu ya wazazi wangu hawakuweza kunisomesha kwa sababu ya uwezo wa school fees, na zaidi ya hapo wa kimila yetu kusoma zaidi, kusomesha msana zaidi ilikuwa ni shida. Kwa hivyo hata hapo nilijaribu kufikisha mahali hapo.
These girls' mothers work so hard day and night to ensure that their girls go to school. We as a community, we've created an opportunity for them to be able to sell the artifacts and generate some income that will enable them to support their families and educate their girls, because they never got an opportunity to go to school. So actually they are working extra hard to ensure that they break that cycle.
My name is Bernice Mbiti, and I'm in Form 1 in Embakasi High School, and I'm 16 years old. I passed through so many challenges, whereby my father wanted me to be married by an old man, and I got rescued by the chief, and he took me to Embakasi, whereby I was received by the principal.
Yeah, my name is Dorothy Muthini Sainapei, and I'm the principal in Embakasi High School. This is a school which I can say it has done a lot to the girl from this Ma community, knowing that there are negative practices which can impact negatively on our girls. And as a result, me with the chief and the other community elders, we have tried to change those negative practices by even rescuing the girls and bringing them here.
And as a chief, I'm actually playing a very big role in empowering this local community and ensuring that some of these rules are being followed. Like, for example, we are now against the early marriage. We are against the female genital mutilation and those cultural practices that are done to our girls. How is she doing?
In fact, this girl, Mviti, she's adopted so well. Which subject do you like most?
I like physics and biology.
You can see Chief, she's doing okay. Yes. In fact, she's among the top 10 in that class. Yes. And soon we want to make her the class leader.
That's good.
And we even use her to do counseling to other girls in that class.
Yes.
Yeah, she's an asset to us here in the school.
That's good. Keep it up.
Yeah,
we want you to be a role model for our students.
We have 100% transition, that is from primary level to secondary level. And it is at that tender age whereby girls from this Maasai community get lost, because that time they have grown and the Morans can get away with them. They can be sold off in exchange for animals, because here we value livestock.
Educating a girl child is like educating a whole community, because girls are directly connected to the community. They are connected with their mothers, they are connected to children, they are connected to the boys. So we appeal to everyone to support as much as they can, because it's not just supporting an individual girl or individuals, but it's a way of empowering the whole society.
So Nickson, how many people comprise your community now? How large an area is it?
Within my area of jurisdiction, there are nearly 10,000.
Okay, and you're the assistant chief.
Yes.
So the whole area, there's a chief over the whole area?
Yes. You know, in Kenya we have the smallest unit of administration is a sub-location. Okay. And that's where I'm an assistant chief. And then we have a location. A location is comprised of 2 or 3 different sub-locations. And
what issues are you facing now in your community with this encroaching of Nairobi?
There are actually a number of challenges. One is there is loss of habitat for livestock. Yeah. There is a change of lifestyle, because the people who are coming, they are non-Maasai, and they are coming up with their own different style, different perception on issues like, for example, keeping livestock. There are also challenge of cultural erosion, like, you know, they are coming up with different lifestyle that are not used for Maasai. And the other bigger one is the land change of user. Yeah. Like the land that we've been using for keeping livestock, someone coming up with a quarrying, a eucalyptus plantation, and those environmental friendly activities. Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you foresee for the future, and what do you wish for your community going forward?
Actually, one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to do more awareness and educate our own people to understand the consequences of some of these things that are coming. One is, as much as we are trying to encourage them to preserve our culture, we are also trying to educate them to do away with some of the practices that are not compatible with their modern life, and 2, that are not constitutional. They are against the law in our country. And those are some of the things that I do as an assistant chief to enforce those government policies to our people and disseminate those policies for people to be able to understand. So we are doing more awareness for people to be able to understand the consequences of some of those new things that are coming up and are being brought by the people who are moving into our area and some of the practices they are doing.
So important to preserve these cultures.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, gosh, look what we've done to the Native Americans here in America. We can't let that happen to your tribe and to you. So, Kenny, your show is helping to raise funds for the school. It's great work you're doing with the school. I think it's really great that you have, you can track the lions now with your iPhone, and it's just, you know, it's like East meets West, technology meets culture and tradition.
Yeah.
Well, for years, I've been filming Nickson for several years now, eventually I'll make it into a documentary. And the documentary is called Digital Maasai. Because Nickson's herding his cattle with one hand with his cell phone in his other. Right. And he's never, ever off the cell phone, ever.
Oh.
Yeah, you see, like in 2003, the lions who were killed outside the park, the population went up to 9 lions. And that's when we started to do a lot of this intervention and try to take up those responsibilities. We were even be able to ID all those lions in Nairobi Park. We know their names. We were able to identify the trouble ones.
How many are there now?
For now, we have more than 45.
Oh, great.
Yes.
That's
yes.
great.
Yeah, and we identify those more trouble ones, and I recommend to KWS for collaring. So they put up those satellite tracks, and now they keep monitor them. And that's how we'll be able to reduce conflict. Also putting up lion lights to ensure that they don't attack livestock. So all this intervention, is good to, even nowadays we go to the local schools, talk to the kids, share this information to them, and they go back to talk to their parents. So information flows in around the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to get like Bill Gates or somebody like that to bring computers into your school? Can you get information to his group? That
will be a very good idea, because the information that is being collected by those satellite tracks then can be passed to the local community, and they themselves can be able to see and be able even to see the movement of lions outside the park.
And also for education.
And for
the girls
education.
in the school.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah.
See, I want to say, the fact that Nickson and I are sitting here together and we're sort of doing this together. Yeah. In my childhood in Kenya, this would not have been possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, true.
Not at all. Complete separation. And many taboos, So the piece really celebrates the coming together of the black and the white. That's what that piece is about. Even though it's set, way back in the 1950s, it's sort of the hope for that fusion, which is happening, I think. I mean, Kenya's very well integrated racially.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Black and white. There's tribal issues, but black and white are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Naisula, woman of power. So in this beautiful poster by Patton Miller, is the white woman the woman of power?
No. No. The spirit child is Naisula.
Spirit child is Naisula.
Yes. And in African mythology, a spirit child is one who chooses to come to earth, but can also choose to leave. So she's nebulous, ambiguous.
Can come and go anytime she wants.
Yes.
So it's October 3rd.
The 3rd.
It's a Tuesday evening.
It is.
It's free. People should get on your website.
Well, they can go to the John Drew lab, JDT lab.
Can they get tickets when they come, or they need to go
I
on
suppose
before?
so, yes. The Guildhall likes people to register and reserve in advance to RSVP. But of course, if you just show up, we'll be more than welcome to see you.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a really interesting. No, it's too bad you can't be here. You're only here for a few more days, right?
Yes.
But traveling around the United States, how do you like traveling around the United States?
Yeah, it's good, and because I'm also getting an opportunity to learn, and to be able to share my experience, my life experience, and what I do as my job, what I do as a Maasai, the young people. Last year I was here and I was really so happy to be able to interact and share my experience with students. And I'm become so happy because I see the way they respond.
Yeah.
You taught at the Ross School for a whole day.
How great.
Yeah. So, and this time I will be able to be talking at the University of Colorado. And I think it's a great privilege. And even go back to my village and be able to talk to those young girls in that school, because I was one of the founders of that high school. We started with 2 students. Within 2 years, there were more than 350.
Oh my God, that's so great.
And you can see, and you know, one of the things is education now in Kenya is compulsory. And one of my things as an assistant chief is to ensure every kid go to school.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so at times you have to take them to school, and at times some don't even have money to pay school fees. But it's my responsibility to make sure they go to school, and then you also push their parents sometimes to pay money, and then that becomes a challenge. And the other thing is to rescue some young girls who the parents decided to sell.
Yeah.
To sell them.
But also, Nickson, you should mention, if we have time, that one of
But what? But what?
that your experience dealing with cattle is now becoming of interest to Western ranchers. That's why the University of Colorado and so on.
Very interesting.
Because they're also dealing with similar issues like drought and land management and wildlife conflict. And the Maasai have incredible experience in all
Yeah, because actually one of the centers that I will be talking at the Colorado State University is Center for Collaboration Conservation. Cool. And that's exactly what we do. We try to bring all these things together, livestock together, cows and people.
Okay.
Well, I'm so sorry we don't have more time. Kenny Mann, wonderful filmmaker. You do such great work, and your film about your parents and growing up in Kenya is fabulous. Nickson Parmisa, it's an honor to meet you. And I look forward to seeing Naisula, October 3rd. See you then.
Breathe in. Now I took what I want, but you find that everything they've got. Breathe in. Now I took what I want, but you find that everything they've got. Breathe in.